to gain some valuable playoff experience, but they did pick up a couple of first-round draft picks. They continue to add talent to this deep roster, and I would think it's just a matter of time before they're back in the playoffs again.
That is his shot, guys. So you can't just give it to him. You've got to get up on him and get into his airspace there.
Here's Fox. And here we go. Let's it go. Shot is off. And Sacramento will go the other way with it. This is their first chance this season playing the Jazz.
And this is a big game, guys, today, because these teams will see each other 3 more times down the road, and this one kind of sets the tone for the season series.
And that'll be Utah. As it goes out of bounds, Jazz retain possession. I think Steve nailed it moments ago, Clark, talking about, this series of 3-4 games between these two teams during the year. See now, the slate between them is clean.
And being that it is their first meeting, Kevin, I'm actually anxious and curious to see what's changed in terms of their way to come at each other compared to last season.
Number 2.
Look at that athletic play. Incredible.
Wow. Here he comes, and there we go.
Look at him punish that rack.
The guys on the bench are going crazy right now at the sight of that jam.
To the inside. And the jam by Whiteside.
Well, they ran a nice play there, Kevin, to set up the easy dunk.
Yeah, he got help from his teammate and ran his man right straight into the pit.
Yep, and that's the offensive player's job. Run him into the screen.
And it was a great pick, too, Clark. I mean, he may have lowered his shoulder a little bit, but he got him pretty clean.
Now the feed to Barnes. Shot clock at 6. Off target with his 3.
He just couldn't shake loose. He had the defender draped all over him.
Pass to Bogdanovich. Nice ball movement by Utah. Number 24. And again, it's the Jazz from deep.
Even though he doesn't really have the long-range ability on a consistent level, he can knock down some open ones.
Poke loose. Fast break. Here come the Jazz. All over.
Oh, what a throwdown there. Man. Tell you what, he's going to put that one in his scrapbook. Absolutely insane with that dunk.
Well, now they're starting to rub it in, aren't they? Have build up a lead, and here we go, folks. It's showtime.
And why not? I mean, the more plays they make like that, the more they'll have these guys on the ropes.
A pass to Fox to end the run. Cannot hit. And it's Utah the other way.
Corner.
Can't get it to go.
You see the defenders get out of his way a lot of times when he's on his way to the bucket, but not that time.
Number 2. An easy 2 points on the layup. a chance to check out tonight's starting lineups. And breaking down the game, let's take a look here at Rudy Gay.
Yeah, he's a terror in the passing lanes. He loves to lay back a bit, kind of play possum, anticipate, and then dash out and pick off those careless passes.
And something else everybody loves about him is his ability to do the sensational and spectacular. His dunks simply defy description at times.
So for the Jazz, this matchup, they got to be feeling pretty good as they won that last outing against the Thunder.
Yeah, it didn't seem to be much of a challenge for them in that game. It seemed like they scored at will. Not much defense that they were facing.
Yep, they had the defense on its heels early the entire game, and actually nearly the entire game, and no matter what unit was out there, looked like a mismatch to me. Well, really a promising young roster for the Utah Jazz team, guys. A lot of blue-chip talent there. I think in a couple of years, this team has a chance to be one of the best in the West.
And that's why teams emphasize the use of screens and picks, just to get you some open looks like that one.
Here's the floater. And it's Rudy Gay with the rebound. And you got to give this Utah front office a lot of credit. You're right, Clark. They've only missed the playoffs 5 times in the last 30 seasons. Steve, that is a remarkable run.
What I like about Utah, too, Kevin, is that they seem to stay ahead of the curve. They make moves while they still have leverage, dealing Carlos Boozer, Kirilenko, Darren Williams. So they've done a good job of getting value, getting assets, and continuing to look ahead.
About a minute and a half through the first quarter. And now Doris Burke has an update from the sidelines.
Hey, Kevin, I briefly spoke with Oklahoma City's head coach. He said a big part of their focus defensively will be on trying to contain Rudy Gay, adding he presents some challenges because he can shoot over the top, and also he's a tremendous finisher inside. We've got to force him to that left hand, but I'm hoping we won't have to double too much because they have plenty of other guys who can knock it down. Kevin, the challenges are full.
And thank you for that, Doris. And so it's Oklahoma City with it. Following the 3 from Bogdanovich. And the basket good. He has 5.
Right back at you. They immediately get those 3 points back.
Trading punches, that's how you answer.
First quarter ball, almost 2.5 minutes in. Inside. And out of bounds as the Thunder gain possession.
Here we can get a look at Oklahoma City, Kevin, and what kind of numbers they put up these last 10 games. First in rebounding, 4th in three-point field goal percentage, and they are in the top third of the league in assists. With the quality of players they have, you thought they might be better there, but not bad.
And probably what impresses me the most, Clark, out of all those stats you're talking about is the rebounds per game, because this is a team that has become very physical. They'll put a body on you, and they'll really dominate the paint if you don't stand up to the task and really attack them back.
He can fly, can he? He'll make you forget he's a point guard sometimes.
Yeah, when he does decide to attack the basket, Kevin, he can do it with the best of them.
And this is the time to attack with these two teams locked in such a close game.
And a miss there on the triple. Well, it was the Oklahoma City Thunder in their last game, a loss to the Hawks in Atlanta.
Yeah, they were really in a funk from the field, guys. Credit the defense, definitely, but even when they got open looks, they were not hitting.
Hey, Steve, me and you flub up words and misstate things on occasion. So do these players have bad nights. It happens.
And the Jazz with possession after Oklahoma City gets the 3. And the layup's good off the glass.
Not much the defense can do once he gets to the bucket.
Thunder have gotten 4 of 6 field goal attempts to drop in the first quarter. All sorts of time, and again it's Oklahoma City. The Jazz have gone 5 of 7 today so far. Nice shooting to get this game underway. Gay outside, from outside the arc. Here's Whiteside, and down it goes, jamming that one home.
carving out some space and eating a little glass at the offensive end while he's doing it.
You got it with a ferocious follow.
Yeah, but just another day at the office for him. That's what he does.
And so it's Oklahoma City with it, following the bucket by the Jazz. Number 3, defended by Bogdanovich. Down to 5 on the shot clock. Look at the clock. Here's Favors. Number 7. It's going to be a goaltending call here, so they'll count the bucket.
He almost got to that shot in time, but not quite. You can't touch the ball once it's on the way down.
Thaddeus Young, he's checked in for Utah. Screen by Young. 0-0. Buries the long-range jumper. He has 5.
That's like a layup for him. He's just wide open out there.
Number 2 gets the bucket.
Boy, has there been any defense played yet in this game?
Nope, this game has been all about rapid-fire offense early.
Passes it to Bogdanovich. They get a hand on it. Here's the break.
Shot!
And he dunks it down. Tremendous stuff from a guy, Clark, we think more of for his passing.
Yeah, but he's got tremendous leaping ability and a surplus supply, too.
Well, that's a great aggressive move, and 2 big points, too.
So it's Utah now. The Thunder making the shot. Releases. And again, it's Utah.
Boy, such outstanding patience and decision-making for them offensively.
Yeah, absolutely. Their ball movement has been outstanding. They are piling up the assists.
And first timer of the game called for Oklahoma City.
You know, with so many high hopes, the Thunder seem to be everybody's pick to make it to the finals once again. They were so dominant throughout the regular season. Many thought it was a foregone conclusion, but the injury to Russell Westbrook kind of sidetracked all of that.
And here now the Thunder. They trail by 1. There's the pass to Muscala. Oklahoma City moving it around. Oklahoma City needs to get off a shot. Number 7. Laid in with a nice touch off the glass. He's got 9. And back to the Thunder in the postseason. They did well to get by the Rockets after Westbrook injured his knee. And Steve, they just didn't have the same dynamic punch when they later faced the Grizzlies. Ended up getting bounced out in the second round.
Well, it was a tough matchup for them because the Grizzlies are so good defensively, and when you take Westbrook out of the lineup, all of a sudden it changes everything. I thought Oklahoma City battled, but they just didn't have enough firepower without their point guard.
And it's the Thunder with the ball. Leaps for it. And now Utah, fast break. And a beautiful feed leads to a monster jam.
Quick hands on the steal, quick feet on the break.
Costly mistake to fork that ball over and then not get back on D.
The feather touch on the finger roll. Beautiful. He's got 11.
You know, he's showing some kind of a killer instinct this quarter, trying to stretch this lead out.
Pass to Bogdanovich. There's the 3. Gets the bucket. Bogdanovich has got his 3rd basket of the night.
Well, this quarter has gone awfully well for him. It seems like every chance he's gotten, he's pretty much converted.
Number 2. Rebounded by the Jazz. Want to keep rolling here following the win against Memphis.
Yeah, that was a strange game. Very shaky defensive performance by their opponent, but hey, they took advantage of it.
Yeah, I'd go along with that. I mean, the game wasn't handed to them, but they definitely didn't have to
2K Sports checks in with our loyal viewers with a broadcast from Utah, downtown Salt Lake City, Utah, the home of the Jazz, Energy Solutions Arena. Welcome to the Tuesday night edition of the NBA on 2K Sports. This is Kevin Harlan to call the game with our analysts Clark Kellogg and Steve Kerr. A quick check now at the starting five for both teams. And breaking down the game, let's take a look here at Rudy Gay.
Yeah, he's one of those guys that's special because he lives for the big moments. Fearless. I mean, he will take any big shot down the stretch. He wants the ball in his hands.
And he also loves to jump into the passing lanes and pick you off. I mean, likes to shoot the gap. It backfires on occasion, but like a great base runner, he seems to pick his spots pretty well.
Taking a look at San Antonio. Well, they come in off a difficult stretch of home games, and a win here on the road would do a lot to get that confidence back.
They're trying to get this long road trip off on the right foot with a win here.
Well, the worst thing you can do is start a long trip with a loss. And you want to play well, obviously, but if you can get a victory right out of the gate, it can set the tone for the entire trip.
So it's Utah now after the miss from Johnson. Passes it to Poole. Fires the three. And it's going to be out of bounds. The Spurs will take it.
Guys, you go back to the shortened season a year before last, and the Spurs were the best team on the road. But last year, they weren't nearly as dominant on the road. Still solid when leaving San Antonio, but far from the level they played at a couple of seasons ago.
Jones kicks to Johnson. Johnson left side. 6 to shoot. Back to Jones. That's in, coming off the assist from Johnson. Jones has got himself going with the triple, his first basket of the game. And for the Spurs on the road last season, they would still win 23 games in hostile territory. And while that is more than the 22, Steve, they won in the shortened season, they also lost a fair amount more as well.
Well, for the Spurs, Kevin, I think they did what they needed to do. You know, the Spurs manage the regular season. They know when to turn it on and when they can maybe relax a little bit. The big thing is they just want to stay near 500 on the road, protect their home court, and be healthy going into the playoffs, and that puts them in a good position.
They now take the lead.
Oh, he's going to keep banging those home if you give him that much space.
The Jazz have gone 2 of 3 here to start out the game. Let's find out what Doris Burke has for us.
Well, Kevin, the head coach for the Jazz gave me just a couple of moments to catch up with him. Coach said that even though this is the first meeting of the year, he didn't expect there to be much of a feeling out period between the teams. He said, listen, we have a group of guys that can all score and do it in a hurry. I expect us to come right at them and test their defense early on. They'll definitely be on the attack, guys.
Thanks for filling us in, Doris, and not too surprising that their offensive approach will be a major focus.
Yeah, that's what I would expect, Kevin. I mean, this is a team that really hangs its hat on its offensive execution.
But, guys, that can't be the sole focus. They can't forget to defend.
And there's the pass to Gay. Nice ball movement by Utah. There's the screen. Pass to Poole. Fires for 3. Cannot hit. San Antonio's gone 2 of 4 from beyond the arc to start the game. Number 4. Can't get it to go. Now the Jazz take it the other way. They're getting their first look of the season at San Antonio in this one.
And over the course of last season, they dropped the majority of their games when facing this team.
Passes it to Poole. Utah needs to get off the shot here. The putback throws it down with the quick putback jam.
Tell you what, coaches love to see that kind of hustle, guys. I mean, getting after it on the offensive boards, that's always a winning play.
Absolutely.
Now, coaches love to see the hustle, but the fans love to see the dunk.
And the Spurs with possession. They trail by 1. Finish at the bucket. You know, going back to Steve's point, this series was not one of the highlights of the season last year.
Yeah, Kev, you wouldn't expect them to come out on the wrong end of that series, but it happened that way, and we'll see what happens going forward.
Bogdanovich passes to Poole. Here's Bogdanovich. He's guarded by Johnson.
Well, yeah, he had not established position.
You know, I'd prefer the refs to whistle with a block when in doubt. I thought that was a good call there.
Now the basket pool from past the arc. And good on the basket. Book it.
That shot becomes effortless for him when the D is so relaxed. They've got to get more intense.
Last outing for Utah, it was a loss to the Clippers.
And that's the kind of loss that sticks with you for a while, guys, because they were probably the better team that night, and they just couldn't put the game away.
You know, Steve, you'd almost rather get beaten by double digits than know you should have won it, but didn't.
And the basket by Johnson.
Great move to the hoop, and I love the finger roll finish.
For Utah, they've gone 50% from the field to this point, 4 of 8. Number 11, defended by Jones. Basket pool, 6 on the shot clock. So the whistle blows on the shot and 2 free throws for the contact right there.
Well, you always hear about how loud this Jazz crowd is at home, and trust me, it is loud. They are a big part of why the Jazz have been so tough at home for so long, but the personnel of the Jazz has had something to do with that as well.
And as you said, the Jazz very tough at home as always, Clark, and 30 wins for them in this building last season, which usually, Steve, is enough to get you into the playoffs.
Yeah, that's an amazing stat. 30 home wins and you don't get in. Just shows you how difficult and how tough the Western Conference was.
Another shot, and he banks in the layup.
Boy, he crashed the boards with purpose right there. Well-deserved second chance points for him.
Beyond the arc, gets it to go. 8 points for him.
The lead changes hands once again. There has been no separation between these two teams tonight.
What an intriguing basketball game, that's for sure.
Now here's Johnson. We saw him with 10 points last game. It's blocked, and that'll be San Antonio as it goes out of bounds. Spurs retain possession. Now we get a chance to check out the standings out west. Already we're in December. Taking a look at San Antonio. This hasn't been the kind of year they envisioned. Time running out. And, of course, Utah, tied right now.
When I look at San Antonio, you know, they've got to take a step back and just try to pinpoint where things went south for them this season. They're in a tough spot.
But it's so hard to figure that out in the midst of the season, Clark. You got games coming night after night. There's just no time to figure it out. You just have to try to right the ship and get things moving.
And Utah making a change here. Young's check. Den.
How about the passing? They are moving the ball without any thought, without any agenda.
It's hard to overstate all the points they've scored on assists today. Beautiful to watch.
And breaking down some numbers here, the hustle stats for the Jazz.
Well, I think the defensive aggressiveness on display here has caught them off guard, playing airtight defense and coming up with the steals.
Well, the other thing they've done well is getting after shooters. They've closed out well, and they've really blocked a lot of shots in the half.
So it's San Antonio now. After the basket by Utah, Johnson goes in, and nothing is falling for him right now. Jazz leading by 7. Basket pool. Here's Bogdanovich. Nice ball movement by Utah. The 3 ball. San Antonio with the rebound.
I thought the way they attacked the rim and got into the paint was phenomenal. It seemed like after a while, the defense just kind of waved the white flag.
That's exactly what will happen when a team continues to attack the goal and come away with layups. It demoralizes the defense.
And the Jazz with possession here after the made shot from Jones. There's the pass to Bogdanovich. Back to Gay. Fires the 3. Rebounded by the Spurs. Johnson's got his 3rd rebound on the night. Somehow ignores the tight D and gets the layup. Johnson's got 7 points.
Pretty much all of their buckets coming from inside the paint now.
Yeah, that's 5 of their last 6 baskets inside the lane. They have really established themselves inside.
Here's Bogdanovich. He had a 12-point outing in their last game against the Clippers.
Boy, he had it going offensively, just living at the line.
Outside, Jones. Dishes it to Johnson. He feeds it to Jones. Goes up on the high post. Number 25. And the layup's good off the glass.
Well, coaches love him because of the hustle he's continually showing out on the floor. And I think where you really see it most is on the offensive boards.
And you've also got to love what a forceful low-post defender he is. If he blocks one of your shots, you remember it. He sends them into the stands to make a point.
So it's Utah now, following the bucket by the Spurs. Pass to Bogdanovich. Another miss by Utah.
Kevin, I didn't like that defensive effort at all, but they're lucky he missed it.
Yeah, they were very lucky defensively because there was some miscommunication there. They left him wide open. And poor shooting from him this quarter. His shooting percentage nowhere near where he'd like it to
be. Number 11, defended by Jones. Young, a screen on Jones. Got a piece of it. Lays out. And it's out of bounds. Utah able to retain possession here.
And now we've got a moment to see how the Jazz are doing ranking-wise, Kevin. 6th in free throw percentage. 12th in three-point field goal percentage. And as far as fewest turnovers per game, not a strong suit. They've struggled here. Top 20 in the league. Those numbers can get you beat.
I'm impressed most with their free throw shooting that you talked about. This is a team that really focuses from the foul line. They shoot the ball well from there, and as a result, they're constantly looking to attack to try to get those free points at the free throw line.
Rebounding is going to be the focal point for them in this one, fellas. I can feel it.
Yeah, it's a physical game, and so far the numbers show that they've got the edge on the glass.
Number 18. And count the basket. He was fouled, and he's going to the line for one more.
Boy, that was impressive, Clark. He did not hesitate to take the ball right up against the bigger defender.
Boy, I like that aggressive mindset there, Steve.
And this is his first trip to the line tonight.
76% of the stripe for him to this point of the season.
You know, you look at the flex offense that Utah utilizes, and it requires that players, one, be versatile and multi-skilled, but also that they have good basketball IQs. You need to be able to screen and read defenses effectively. And that's not easy, but it's certainly a good way to play if you've got the right people.
That's the kind of defense required when he's got the ball near the hoop. They were right in his face.